Hey everyone, Dennis K here with Belize Islands Real Estate. Hey, listen, last week I was able to have several really good Zoom calls with potential clients, people looking to move to Belize, along with their entire family. Many of them bringing children down of different ages. And anyways, these Zoom calls were really interesting because it really helped me to see where different parts of Belize and different aspects of life in Belize are going to appeal to different types of people with different interests, personalities. Some are more geared toward the island life, some are more geared toward mainland life. And so, what I wanted to do in this video is just kind of dive deep into some of the things that you should be thinking about as you're planning your move abroad. And maybe I can give you some things to think about, some maybe goals or targets to set for yourself, and some areas of the country to research. That way, in your next trip down, maybe you can check out a couple of these areas and see if they're right for you, or to see if this is an area that you want to invest for the future. Because sometimes what we're looking for right now in our current circumstances is going to be a little different than what we might be doing, say, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, especially if you have kids that you're bringing down with you. So, for example, mom and dad are coming down to Belize. They have one set of criteria of a lifestyle they're looking for, but right now, that lifestyle obviously has to include the kids. But what happens if the kids are already in their teen years or middle to late teens? Kids might be going off on other ventures, doing their own thing after a while. Would that necessarily mean that the parents are going to still want the same type of lifestyle in Belize, or would they like something else? So in this video, I kind of want to dive deep into those topics and share with you a couple ideas that I think might be helpful. All right, thanks a lot. So bear with me. None of this is scripted. I am just flying by the seat of my pants. But I do have a lot of experience in Belize, living on both the mainland and the island. Steph and I lived in both areas, and we know just about every single major town in Belize, but also a lot of the smaller areas as well. So we can give a lot of guidance regarding island life, mainland life, and in this video, putting out the possibility of maybe even suggesting both areas of the country as an investment. Why? I grew up in Michigan and we had our family home in Bay City, but Graham had a cabin up on the lake. And so we would go up there several times a year. Now, we didn't own the cabin, it was Graham's cabin, but still, that cabin was a place where we were able to spend the weekends, long weekends, and some of the, summer vacations. And we had so many good memories up there. But again, our family didn't own it. It wasn't ours. It was just a cabin that we used. Many of you guys living in different parts of the world, especially United States and Canada, you have these things. You have these little cabin properties, wood properties, lake properties. So you might have your main residence somewhere where you live most of the time, but then you have these little getaways. And in Belize right now, there's an interesting dynamic happening both in the islands and the mainland, where you might actually think of doing something similar, where you have maybe a larger family home, let's say on the mainland. Now, why? The mainland, you can get very large properties for around 20% or less than what you can buy the same properties for on the island. Build costs are a lot less. Goods and services, food, everything is a lot less on the mainland. So you might consider having your main family home on the mainland because you can get something much larger, more luxurious, with a lot more space. And then maybe try to get something smaller on the island, just as one of those escapes. So you want to go to the island for a few days, you have a little place to use. When you're not using it, you can always Airbnb it, or maybe even just rent something on the island. So if your main home is on the mainland, and you say to yourself, yeah, but Dennis, I like the island lifestyle. I like snorkeling, diving, fishing, sailing, all that kind of good stuff. All right. Look at your overall lifestyle, look at your budget, and kind of determine how many weeks or months a year would I prefer the island life. If I could have something, say larger and more expansive on the mainland, then what would my budget like as far as going out to the islands and enjoying that part of Belize? Or it could be vice versa. Like right now, it could be that you want to establish yourself on the island because that makes the most sense for you. So you find a little property in the island, could be beachfront, second row, maybe something a little bit further back. That's going to be your main residence, knowing that maybe the price of the land is obviously much higher than the mainland. Build costs are much higher than the mainland, but you're willing to invest those funds because the island lifestyle is really what you want to do 90% of the time. But at the same time, you buy something on the mainland in an area that you like just as a little escape. Because maybe in the future, 5, 10, 15 years from now, maybe you want to transition into a different type of lifestyle. Maybe your hobbies are going to transition. Maybe you're going to be looking at doing things that require a more space of land or a larger home or maybe workshops, things like that. So with that in mind, I want to show you guys a couple of things right now. Now, specifically from here on out, I want to make this video very specific and practical to families. Like I said, last week in our Zoom calls, we talked to at least two different families, and it became obvious in our Zoom calls that what would work best for both of these families were to set themselves up on the island because their children were young enough that they need a larger social circle without being bored to death. So I would suggest that Ambergris Key be where they establish themselves as a family. They can put the kids in school. There's a large network on the island as far as getting the kids involved in sports, and there's enough for the parents to do. The parents can get involved in all sorts of things, maybe running a business or giving back to charity in some way, shape, or form. But there's a lot to do in a larger community like Ambergris Key. It's got the most amount of expats on the island, and I think for families, especially families with kids under the age of I don't know, 18, Ambergris Key is going to offer the most practical social life for them, allow them to make friends, do things, beautiful, safe place to live. But at the same time, when talking to the parents seem to be more suited to mainland life because they want large, expansive spaces. They want to have gardens, grow their own food, maybe some animals, larger home. They want to be in the jungles, along the rivers, that kind of thing. So, for that, I would suggest, okay, establish yourself on Ambergris Key now. That could mean buying a lot and building a house. That could mean just renting, finding a nice place to rent long term. So you're going to establish yourself on Ambergris Key. At the same time, look at the mainland and decide, okay, where on the mainland can I see myself spending time? Either maybe just a few weeks or a few months a year now, but in the future, more and more, because I kind of like that aspect of the mainland. So I'm going to show you a couple things right now that I think you're going to be very interested in. All right, first of all, let me pull up some slides. All right, there we go. Again, I'm looking at the mainland versus the islands. What are the pros and cons of both? The islands offer the island lifestyle. So you're right on the sea. You don't have to travel to get there. You're literally, wherever you are in Ambergris Key, you are never anywhere further than a mile and a half away from the coast because the island is only 3 miles wide. So at any given spot in time, wherever you are in the island, you're very, very close to either the west side or the east side. East side has the barrier reef, and the west side, of course, that's the secret beach side that has beautiful crystal clear waters like you see here. Islands pros. Let's see. Well, you don't need a car, you need a golf cart. So there's not the cost of maintaining your car, and your golf cart costs very little to maintain. Pros of living on an island. Oh my goodness. Palm tree, sunshine, snorkeling, diving, fishing, being able to get around very, very easily. You're not too far from any grocery stores, gas stations, things like that. Cons of living on the island. Depending on a person's budget, it can be a little cost prohibitive when it comes to buying and building, having your own property there. I think renting is still a good way to go for some people. Rental prices are not crazy, especially compared to, coastal areas of the United States and Canada. Everything does have to be imported to the islands, so the cost of goods and services can be higher, and build costs are definitely higher. What are the pros and cons of the mainland? The mainland offers a completely different lifestyle. So you're looking at jungles, rivers, the wildlife on the mainland, the Mayan ruins, the ability to grow all sorts of fruits and vegetables, animals, gardens, all kinds of cool stuff on the mainland. The cons, a lot of your areas are limited as far as having a larger social life. All right. So If you want to get somewhere like San Ignacio, which is a larger town by the Guatemalan border, probably be my number one recommendation to have a nice sizable town that has lots of restaurants, grocery stores, markets, things like that. But some of these areas of the mainland can be, pretty isolated as well, where you don't really have a lot of people living around you, and especially for families with kids, might be a little harder to get them integrated into society in Belize. But as I've been recommending in this video, it's actually worth it for some of you guys to look like having the best of both worlds. That is taking a look at your budget, deciding what's most important to me now, what's most important to me going forward in the future, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and is there a way that I can get both island life and mainland life? So here are some things to think about. Right now, we are just getting ready to be able to offer these riverfront properties in the Cave Branch area. This is an area where a lot of the zip lining and cave tubing takes place. Very, very popular with people coming to the mainland of Belize. This particular area is very quiet, very private, and yet you are very close to major goods and services. So, 5-minute drive from here, from this river, you can get into some nice restaurants, small grocery stores. Within 15 minutes, you can get to larger grocery stores, larger hardware stores, and within 30 minutes, from here, you can be in the capital of Belmopan. So obviously, that's where the U.S. Embassy is, and that is where you'd find, large department stores, large grocery stores, large hardware stores in the capital city of Belmopan. So, but an area like this is absolutely pristine, and what I like about it, it has raw jungle cover. So the entire area is nothing but beautiful, beautiful palm trees and all sorts of natural flora and fauna in this area. And we're just being able to get ready to present our riverfront and off-river lots. What I like about these is they are a full acre in size. So a full acre, which gives you plenty of space to build your home, estate, have a nice large home with the pool, with the garden, with the caretaker's house, with everything. Even that being said, I would still suggest you get at least 2 acres in here. So depending on your budget, you might get two side by side off riverfront lots, giving you a nice 2 acres. Maybe you can go with 3 acres. Or if you're going with one of the riverfront properties, take a riverfront property to build your house on, but then also a back lot just to have some extra space. Because if you're the kind of person who wants, workshops and large gardens, you want to grow a lot of your own food, you're definitely going to want to have that extra acreage in the back. So, highly recommend if you're looking at the mainland, try to get at least 2 acres, maybe 3 acres. And again, this little area here on the Caves Branch River is really really cool. I got some really cool drone video of this project, some ground video, and Israel's property is right across the river. So I'm going to be showing you guys his property real soon. He's currently building a beautiful home on the river, also an A-frame house more toward the roadside. So I'm going to be able to show you videos of those real soon. Riverfront lots. These riverfront lots here, lots number 1 and 2 are sold, but 3 through 8 are available. Those going for 110 US with 10/10/30 financing. So monthly payments are 868 on those. Pretty good deal. I mean, this is, you're talking raw jungle. There is nothing cut in this area. It is just, you walk in there, it is absolutely pristine. Getting toward the back lots, back in here, for example, lot 37, prices start at 17.5 with a 20/10/30 financing. That's 20% down, 10% interest for up to 30 years. Monthly payments are 122.86. All right, so we're just about ready to release these. They're not officially on the market yet, but for anyone looking to have a little toehold on the mainland, I highly recommend this little subdivision. Along with that, if you're going back to the island on Ambergris Key, there is a new subdivision that is currently in process. It's going to come online here probably in the next 60 days. It is about a mile and a half, 2 miles north of Secret Beach. Absolutely stunning waters. Properties are in their raw native state. And when these are available, you're going to be able to buy a beachfront property, so direct beachfront, and the second row right behind it for a total of 135. So they're only being sold as a package deal. The beachfront and the secondary lot right behind, which I highly recommend anyway, because for the small amount of extra money, you get double the space. And you actually see how large the second row lots are. So to have your home on the front lot and then your utilities, your what do you call it? Overflow, casitas, caretakers' homes in the back lot, you can do that. Or you can build your main house on the back lot, all right? But then just on your front lot, put your pool. So pool house, maybe a little guest house. You have all that maybe on a single level. Let's call it a first story level here. Build your main house on the secondary lot, 2 or 3 stories, and now you have your complete views here over the sea. Plus, you have a really cool pool in front. That's not easy to do if you build your main home on the front lot. So, for example, if you build your main home here, you can go with a small pool, but you're gonna have a much, you're probably gonna put the pool in the back or maybe even back here. Not really nice. I mean, normally when you swim, you want to be right on the ocean as well. So that's what I would recommend. Get the package deal. These are going to be going for 135 US when they're available. Like I said, right now we're not taking any deposits. We're just taking reservations. So if you're interested, let me know. I'll put my email address in the video description below. But again, when these become available, they're going to go for 135 for the beachfront and the second row lot. And it's going to allow people to have that option of having the island property and the mainland property. All right, so that's just a couple of things I wanted to run by you guys today. If you have any comments, questions, concerns about either the mainland or the islands, let me know. But again, in talking to these two families last week and to others, I highly recommend Ambergris Key and this little area of Caves Branch. I think it's good combination if you want something to establish now with a family, but long term you're looking at mainland life. You can get a lot bigger house and really spread out by going to the mainland. You can do that in the island too, but it's going to cost you, sometimes a small fortune to get a larger property in the island and build a larger home, whereas you can do it a lot cheaper in the mainland. So give it some thought. And whatever works best for your personality with your own personal hobbies and how your finances are going to be going, now through retirement. And we can see how we can help. All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you guys watching. All the best. And we'll talk to you soon.